the last great Coliseum, the site of the cut race for round number 1. Green flags in the air, we're racing at Bristol. And issues for the 18, he's into the wall. There's a lot of rowdy fans out there, but this is not what they wanted to see.
Oh, man, the backstretch. What is crash?
Oh, in the middle, keep coming. Back up.
The left front is off.
Chris Buescher will win his second Cup Series race, and it happens in Bristol.
Hey race fans, welcome to Backseat Drivers. I'm Alex Weaver, joined by NBC Sports' Kyle Petty and our resident analyst back on the table, Mamba Smith. Well, remember at any time during the show, you can text Kyle. Text Kyle more. Or Mamba to 31032 to agree or to disagree with their takes. And speaking from how we started off this morning in the studio, I can tell you that it is going to be a hot take show. So text that number, make sure, and disagree or agree with us. Bristol, a wild finish for the round of the playoffs, and now we have the round of 12. It's set, it's locked. But we also have 19 winners on the season. Tell Steve Letarte, there's 19.
19. God,
But did he thought it wasn't going to
The
be
playoffs. I know.
Yeah,
Tomato,
listen,
whatever.
I got your back,
can't believe
Steve.
it. I can't
Letarte.
believe there's 19. I
Okay,
just can't.
Exactly. So
I
it's
can't.
tied for the most since 1972 and 2001. This is the most different winners we have seen in a season. I got a chance to catch up with winner number 19, also known as driver number 17 in Victory Lane. Here's what Chris Buescher had to say at Bristol.
This is one that's been on top of my list. I'd take this over any other win any other racetrack we go to. This is the one for me. So just so appreciative of this group, everybody on this Fast and On team. Get Fast On Victory Lane, a points race finally after all these years. That's a big one for us. Get the Ford group back in here, and with the unveil of the new Mustang this week, it's definitely a special time. Got a lot of buzz around it. So it's on concrete, which is the one I wanted. So it's all adding up. This is really special night for us.
Mamba, 19 different winners, a sweep of playoff wins by the non-playoff drivers in this round of 16. Eric Jones, Bubba Wallace, Chris Buescher. Is it a cause for concern, however, that the playoff drivers can't get it done? We can't close one out. We cannot have a driver that locks in.
I don't think it's a problem at all. I think it's great. And you can call it a problem. I mean, it's a great problem.
It's a problem for the playoff drivers.
Well, yeah, that's their problem.
Yeah.
But if you're these other guys and these other teams, you should be excited that you're competing at such a high level. And it really makes it to where you look at it. In this car and the product that we have now, it is showing up. And the level has been equaled. And that's what we want. We want more teams to be able to win, more drivers to be able to win. I am loving it. And now you got to navigate that. Yeah. And now it's not just, okay, we're kicking people out of the playoffs and you got to navigate those fast guys. Yeah. You got to navigate through 20 to 22 good cars.
Fact.
And it's great.
And I love this. I love this for one simple fact. Once they started the playoffs, the chase, whatever you want to call it, all the teams that didn't make the playoffs, their sponsors would say, well, we never get any publicity. We don't get anything. Now they're getting all the publicity.
Oh, yeah.
They're getting all of it. So it shows the sponsors and the partners in the sport that just because your team doesn't make the playoffs, you can still be a factor. Yep. That's the best. For me, I think that's big for the sport.
So I talked to your dad when we were at Bristol, and RP said, I asked him to win one of the 26, and of course he wins the 27. Talking about Eric Jones.
Yeah.
So just from an organization side of things, does it mean less when you win
No.
and it's not a playoff win?
There is not a lesser Cup win. Okay. There's some that are a little bit more.
Right.
Meaning Daytona and Darlington and some.
7,500,
They're a little bit more, but there's nothing as a driver. There's nothing like a Cup win. So there is no such thing for a sponsor or for anyone else. When you put your name and you put that car in Victory Lane and you're holding that trophy, that means everything.
I'll go over and say too, like when you're not in the playoffs and you get to be a disruptor.
Oh yeah.
That feels.
That's a
feels
satisfaction
good.
thing.
And you got somebody that's on the bubble, and you can take something away from them.
Yeah.
Ooh, that feels.
That's a
good.
great point.
Yeah.
Great point.
Well, things that feel good are that, and things that don't feel good for drivers like Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick. We saw some former Cup champions, the two that I just mentioned, not make it to the round of 12. So here is what the driver of the 18 and the driver of the number 4 had to say following the Bristol night race.
Pretty tough. I mean, we pitted in front of the 17, so just kind of the way the year's gone, and just went from having a chance to lead the parade to being a part of the parade. Just difficult to pass. Cars are way too fast through the corners. Can't race.
Sort of goes with our year. I don't even know what to say. I'm flabbergasted.
Are we flabbergasted? In the beginning of the season, we asked if this was a changing of the guard, and we didn't think so, but here we are, and I think the oldest playoff driver right now is, 32, maybe?
Wow.
But here we are. Is it a changing of the guard, KP?
Yeah, yes, but it has been for the last couple of years, and it will be for the next couple of years. We're just in that transition period, so it is a little bit of the changing of the guard. I don't look at it so much as drivers changing of the guard, as I look at it as organizations up in their game. We talked about it. RFK, Trackhouse,
yeah.
Petty GMS. You know, these teams have been capable of winning races and beating the Hendrick, the Penske, the SHR, the Gibbs team. So I look at that at the same time. This is an era that I don't believe I've ever seen. I think we've seen drivers who have exerted their dominance and they fall off, but not teams like this.
Well, it's also at tracks that those top organizations have dominated.
Oh, yeah.
This isn't Daytonas and Talladegas
True.
where we're getting the luck. It's the Darlingtons and the Bristols. So are you surprised of the changing of the guard?
No, because especially when the new car came, no one knew anything. So
Yeah.
we didn't know what driving styles were going to correlate with this car. We didn't know what teams. Like RFK, they are very engineer based, and they have been for a little while. And with the old car, it might not have paid off as much. And it took a while for it to pay off for them this year. But over the course of the last, month, 6 weeks, you kind of saw them start to turn the corner. You're like, you might need to start looking out for these guys. And then they put it all together because, like KP said, it's not just the drivers, it's the whole organization.
Yeah.
And even though you put your car in a situation to win the race, now you got to come down pit road.
Yep.
Now these guys on pit road
Great point.
are doing something that they haven't done, which is having to do a pit stop that matters.
Yeah, that means something.
That means something. So it's the whole thing.
Well, and Mamba, you mentioned that. Are we surprised that it's both Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch? I even talked about pre-race at Bristol that they were two of the best. Coincidentally, they were two of the best that ever do it at Bristol. And I know it wasn't driver error that technically got them knocked out of the playoffs, but are we surprised that both are eliminated so quickly?
For me, I'm not because of their
Yeah,
season.
that's right.
But I am because of how well they were running specifically in this race. They
Yeah.
both were running up front.
Yeah.
And obviously the 4, they came down pit road. One of those times where they didn't get it done.
Yeah,
And
for
then
sure.
for Kyle, it's like, man, what do I got to do to finish a race? Because it's not like he's ran bad and the team has done good. And you've seen Kyle talk about his team, how hard those guys work. And they deserve more. And he's been saying that for weeks. They deserve more. And that part sucks.
Yeah, I think you look at it, and I agree. It's the collective work of 26 races that put them in this position.
Yeah.
It's not this race.
Yeah.
But what I look at these teams, and I expect these teams. And earlier we were talking about football, we're talking about different teams. But I expect these teams to up their game, and they didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't up their game. They didn't up it on pit road. They didn't up it on prep. They didn't up it on the racetrack to some degree. And that's not necessarily the driver's fault. I'm not blaming it on that, and I'm not blaming it on the team. They were just in a circumstance where when things did go bad, it became catastrophic. It wasn't just a setback.
Well, this was the final playoff race for Kyle Busch in the number 18. He obviously will be on the track for the remaining 7 races of the season in the 18. But then in 2023, it was announced last week that Kyle Busch would be moving over to Richard Childress Racing in 2023. Along with that comes the uncertainty of the driver that's in the 8 right now, Tyler Reddick. His 2023 season is up in the air. He still has a contract to race with RCR in 2023, but Kyle Busch will now be in the 8 car. Here's what RC had to say regarding Tyler Reddick's future at the organization.
Tyler Reddick, I met with him about an hour ago, and I explained to him that he wasn't going to drive the 8 car next year. We've got a contract for him to drive for RCR next year. And I wanted to talk to him before this official announcement. I know there's been a lot of word and rumor out there, but I met with him about an hour ago.
All right, so 2024, Tyler Reddick does not have to worry. He will be in a 2311 car. But it's 2022. There's a year in between that, and he's not in the 8. So with all that being said, in the hour before phone call, what happens to Tyler Reddick in 2023? KP, let's start with you.
I have no idea. I find it interesting that was that Childress, if we go back and we were talking about it, that Childress felt slighted when the Reddick announcement came out. So Childress just payback was, I'm going to call you an hour before I make my big announcement, that kind of thing. So that was a little bit of gamesmanship right there. And I think that Childress danced around, I took it this way, danced around the question of Tyler Reddick and a charter for next year and where Tyler Reddick's going to be. Tyler Reddick's season, meaning 2022, ended not moving on to the playoffs because they don't have to give him the time of day the rest of the year. Honestly, he is in a bad place for these last few races. So, it's going to be interesting to see how they play the Tyler Reddick card. And it's going to speak volumes, I believe, for what the Childress organization is. If they just poo-poo him and send him off to nowhere and no man's land, then I would never drive for Richard Childress. Because what's he going to do to me when he turns his back on me as a driver? I mean, it's going to speak volumes to the garage area. Forget the fans. The garage area is going to look and say, are they going to give Tyler Reddick a fair shot? Are they going to give him something that he can race with, something that he can win with, something that he can be competitive? Because he's proven that he can be. And I think that speaks to the morals and to the leadership of the organization. So I'm going to throw that out for Richard Childress to chew on for a little while when he thinks about what he's going to do for Tyler Reddick.
Hey, KB.
I'm chewing.
Sorry, man.
I mean, I like what you said. But like for me, it's kind of like, I don't know what they're gonna do either. I think the real battle is between RCR, 2311, Chevy, and Toyota. Yeah. Like I feel bad because he's such a nice guy, and this is not his MO to be in a situation like
Which
Tyler
one?
Reddick.
Tyler
Reddick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Tyler Reddick, like being in between now this is a very awkward situation.
True. Yeah.
And everyone loves Tyler Reddick. Like he's a great person, right? A lot of business, but this is business. This isn't personal. This is business. Now it got a little personal. But so the question is, what is Toyota gonna do? Yeah. Are they gonna let their new guy that they are going to hang their hat on to give them wins and compete for a championship? Are they going to let him hang out there? And if RC and them decide to put him in a different car that's not coming out of, let's say it doesn't come out of Richard Childress, even if it does, like how much attention is it going to get? Are you going to let him just sit there and maybe his stock fall, and then that hurts your sponsorship that you're trying to get for him for the next year? Yeah. There's a lot of moving pieces here, and I'm excited to watch it throughout the offseason.
Okay, well, turning the page to Texas, because that seems like a pretty good place to stop. It's time for Backseat Bets, presented by BetMGM, and remember to text Kyle or Mamba to 31032 to make your picks for the week, because we might be wrong. We won't be, but we might be. We probably
Never.
will be. All right, Texas Motor Speedway is up next, and this is kicking off the round of 12. So obviously playoff drivers are going to be hard charging to make sure that they can actually win one this round. So one driver who has momentum, not in the playoffs, and is also a Texas native. He's the latest winner in the NASCAR Cup Series, Chris Buescher, versus a driver who has yet to win this season. Close your ears. I love you so much.
$1 million at this exact racetrack. What are we talking
Wait a minute.
Okay.
That wasn't a points race.
Yeah.
I was just looking to see how many points he got.
Did it pay?
That's
paid.
All right, so the 17 of Chris Buescher versus the 12 of Ryan Blaney. KP, who you got?
I'm going to take Buescher.
Oh,
Listen, Texas boy, Going home
Yeah.
after a big win, after a win. I mean, he beat everybody there.
Yeah.
It's not that Pocono win that he had, you know what I mean? And that's still a win.
Light
I give
years
him that
ago.
win no matter what
Yeah.
because, by God, they put themselves in position. You can't belittle that. But this was a day that he ran up front and he outrun these guys. So I go with Chris Buescher.
You're going with Christopher.
I know who
Buescher.
you're
He's-
going with. I know who you're
Yeah, I
going
mean, this is I'm pretty sure this chair right here is a 12 under it somewhere. It's going 12, man. Like he won. And they need it. Like they need a win, and he won here for the All-Star race. So we're good.
Yeah, I like the time. Every time we talk about Ryan Blaney winning, we're getting farther and farther away. Remember when he won? Remember when he won?
Yeah.
Remember when he won?
Yeah.
I hear you.
We need one.
I know you do need one. You do need
one.
one. I give you that.
Well, I know that YRB won the $1 million at Texas, but everything's bigger in Texas, including momentum. I'm going with the 17 of Chris Buescher.
Wow, you see how she really tied that whole thing together?
Yeah, that was good.
Almost had me in the first half, and then nope.
Nope.
That's what we like to do over here. The highs and lows of racing. All right, next up, now that the points have restacked, Chase Elliott is now in the lead for the round of 12 points versus Joey Logano, who has showed a spark of life here in these last couple of races. So we going with the 9 or the 22?
I think I'm going with the 9. Yeah, I'm going with the 9.
Okay.
I honestly don't pick the 9 a whole lot on the show, so I'm going with the 9.
Yeah. I picked a 22 all the time, so I'm going with Joey Logano. I think they this is an important race.
Yeah,
I
for sure.
think this first race in this round is an important race because of the 2 races that finished this round, the Roval and Talladega. And I think you've got to make a statement in this first race and grab as many points and do as much as you can in this first race.
Yep.
And I think Joey's one of those guys, we talked earlier, but one of those guys that's with a team and as a driver who can go to another place.
So this one was tough for me because you see the likes of Joey Logano, who's gotten so good at the super speedways and has a lot of forward power helping him at Talladega next week. And then you see the like of Chase Elliott, who's become so good at the Roval and the road courses. But I'm going with the 22. Give me Logano at Texas. All right, next up, we have the reigning champ, who is on to the next round with the round of 12. And then possibly a champ favorite earlier in the season, but the one of Ross Chastain, who both Trackhouse cars made it to the round of 12.
That is impressive. That is
Justin
impressive.
Marks, we see you.
Yeah.
Yes.
We like what we're seeing. So Kyle Larson versus Ross Chastain, Mamba.
Whew. Ooh. Now, the interesting part about this one, KP, is neither one of them have really been like stout.
Yeah.
And the 5 hasn't been stout since
In a long time. Yeah.
about Phoenix last year. They've just not really had it all. The 1, I'm gonna go with the 1 because he's a dog
Yeah.
and he's trying to prove something. So.
Yeah.
I have a follow-up question to this. Keep going.
Okay, I'm going with the 1. I'm going with Ross Chastain. Listen, I'll go anywhere with Ross Chastain. He's going to clear a path, and I'm going with him no matter what he goes. And I just want to say for the record, I watched the entire race at Bristol,
How do you?
and I never saw a payback. I never saw a payback at all. What happened?
I don't know.
What happened with all these drivers flapping lips?
so-
I heard gums flapping, but I didn't see a payback.
This leads me to my next point. I'm going with the 5, by the way, Kyle Larson. I'm going with the Hendrick driver at Texas. But at what point does the payback come? Does it come? Like, are they just trying to? Are they?
Why wouldn't it come in the
marinating?
first round? You just eliminate.
Exactly.
You just eliminate the guy.
Exactly.
Because if you give it to him in the first round, you still got to deal with. Now he's really gonna mess with you. Like if you take away where
He's
he has,
already messing
but
with
yeah,
him.
but you have nothing. Now he has nothing to lose.
Now it's just mind games.
Now
with
it's
me.
just
That's
like
right.
now I'd rather feel like I have some control over that and do it when I really need it. Because if you do it in the first round, he has nothing to lose and he will.
Let me just say that you give drivers way too much credit to think this thing out. To say, listen, Ross Chastain has got one thing on his mind, and it's number on his car and winning races, and that one thing is win, win, win. That's it. I mean, I don't see it. Where do you see him paying back? Talladega?
Yeah, we're gonna get him on pit road, boys.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, my point is they eliminated one of the places where
You
it was
can.
not
Right.
as obvious
Right.
and you could have done something.
Right.
That was my point. That's
Yeah.
my point.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
my point.
Yeah,
more than
yeah.
You know
anything
that
else.
meme where the dude's like looking and it's like all the numbers and
He's
it's
trying
like,
to do the
this is
math.
me right now of like, all right,
Yeah.
so, okay. Anyways, on the flip side of that, we talked about Ross Chastain. We obviously, the elephant in the room was Denny Hamlin. It's a 11 size elephant. So Denny Hamlin versus Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell had a great night at Bristol. Almost got the dub, but I
Yeah.
thought it was going to be the purple Yahoo
Oh, we
car.
have to choose between these two?
Yeah, Denny
okay, I
Hamlin
take
versus
Christopher Bell.
Christopher Bell. Okay.
Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell said it. Texas is the most important race besides Phoenix for
Agreed.
the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And I think he takes that mindset, and Adam Stevens takes that mindset into that race, and they do something.
I just want to know if Adam Stevens is doing like yoga now,
Mm-hmm.
or he's probably just like so relaxed on top of that pit box with Christopher Bell now. Go ahead.
Well, it's probably a little different.
Yes,
it's probably
a little bit different.
I'm going with the 11. The 11. I'm going with DH.
Oh, you are?
Yeah. He
Okay.
finished second in the
Yeah.
All-Star race, and I just think that what happened in the All-Star race matters in what
That's a
happens
good point.
this weekend. Like this is only the second or third time we've been able to go to this place. It matters.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I am agreeing with KP a lot today. I'm going
Yes,
with the
you
20
are.
of Christopher
Man.
Bell.
Yo,
Wow.
I'm gonna hit all these, and these guys are losing every one of them. It's gonna be
Maybe
great.
not. Maybe not.
I won't remember when I won.
All right, so that was our picks, our head-to-head picks for the week. So now we're going to do our victory lane pick. There can only be one driver at the end of the race in victory lane. So KP, guest honor, are you going with a playoff or non-playoff driver?
Well, I've raced long enough that I've seen multiple drivers in victory lane, but most of them were fighting when they all showed up there. So I'm going with.
That's true.
I'm going with Christopher Bell. I am going with Christopher Bell.
Okay, go ahead.
Honestly, I hadn't even thought about it until this point because I'm like, it's such a scattered.
Yes.
Like, it's so hard to pick really anybody. You know what? I'm going to go with a non-playoff driver, but a playoff team. I'm going to go back with the 45.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm going to go
That's a
back
great
with the
choice.
45
Yeah.
because Kansas and Texas have some similarities in the
Yeah.
racetrack. Bubba's driving the best that I've
Yes, he
ever
is.
seen him drive. The team is on a high, and to you guys' point, momentum matters.
Yeah. Not planned. I have the 20 written down right there.
There it is.
Christopher Bell in the
Na,
20.
na, 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 na.
Which means the 45 will win.
Let's get it, boy.
All right, well, I hope you guys have been tuning in to Race for the Championship on USA. It's every Thursday night at 10 p.m. Here's a sneak peek of this week's episode.
Being an owner and a driver is certainly a balancing act.
You're happy there?
Dirt and mud really kind of forced me out of my comfort zone.
You win a race and it puts you in the playoffs. We only need one, but we gotta make some hay.
This is our only chance.
Final control.
It is scary, but we pray that it all works out.
We are going high speeds, and we are in a cage.
Pam, you all right, ma'am?
All right, so don't forget, Thursday night, 10 p.m., you have a date. It's with your television. We're heading to Texas Motor Speedway. It's the opening race for the round of 12. I can't wait. KP, you pumped?
I am pumped. Listen, I am pumped for this round.
Me too.
Because this was the round that I thought was going to be the round that was up in the air, but we just came from the round that was up in the air. So this one, no telling where it's going.
What happens in Texas?
What happens in Texas? Action.
Yeah.
Someone's going to go home really upset. I
Yes, they
promise
are.
you that.
Yeah, this is, as KP has stated several times, drivers have said this is the most important race. So a lot on the line here because you head to 2 wild cards. So if you want a ticket to the round of 8, Texas is the spot to do it. You race fans are not going to want to miss it. Make sure and tune in to Texas Motor Speedway this Sunday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on USA. KP, Mamba, always a pleasure.
Yes, it
Thanks
is.
for tuning in to the Backseat Drivers, and we'll see you right back here next week.
This year, see more. The full field of in-car cameras.